Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I think we're going to be coming up to a quiet spell. I'm just looking round at the amount of things going and the amount of things to come. The amount of things to come is pretty thin on the ground at the moment. The wildcat cheetah's going over now. I'm going to take that spike off actually because it's not a strong plant, and as soon as the blooms start to fade there's no point in leaving that. It's only draining it. The Peter Comp #1 spike is opening and they last a reasonable time, so we'll have that for a while. The colour change, the yellow on the lip, the white on the lip, it's quite distinct. Miltonia Sunset's got 2 spikes, only just starting to open. They last quite a while, so they'll be around to see for a while. Shelob Tolkien's going, that's the last spike, so that should be starting to push some new growths out soon. The Zygo looks like it's just starting to fade. If you look at this one, that was the second one to open, the background colour is green. If you look at the background colour on this one, it's turning a straw colour. So that bloom is about to go, and it'll be hotly followed by that one because they open together. I don't know how long this one's going to last. I'm really enjoying it while it's here. But only 3 blooms, not a strong spike, but I've been recovering that plant for about 3 years. It might even be longer. The 2 Miltoniopsis that are out, the Junette that opened quite a nice yellow, is just starting to lose its yellow now. That was expected, that's what the previous blooms did, and now I'm getting fogged. The other Miltoniopsis is still looking nice, but they're not liking the heat, so they wouldn't last as long as perhaps they might have done if they'd opened in a cooler period. There's not much else new stuff coming on. The second weaker spike on this orangey Vanda is now opening. That's quite nice. This one just seems to keep going, so that's Phalaenopsis Sweet Memory. It's doing okay. Up in this corner, those odd few blooms of Prima Donna are going now. I don't think there's any more buds on that. I mean, that was just a couple of out-of-season blooms. Wedding Bells is really fading now. Each day I'm taking off quite a few blooms, leaving not that many. We've still got a few to enjoy. The Epidendrum, Comet Valley something, that's still hanging in there. It's still got a few buds forming near the top, but most of these spikes now are not forming any more buds. So as these blooms drop now, that will be the end of them. And then it's a matter of pushing on some more new growths. Up through the back there, that sort of spike you can see there, that's Catatanti. And one of the buds, let's see if I can get some, oh no, fogger's on. If I turn the fogger off, you might be able to see about 6 inches from the top of the spike, you can just see the colour forming on one bud. So that's going to be open in a few days, and that's got a lot of buds. A hell of a lot. So that's one of the ones to come. Somewhere buried up in there there's a Shari Baby spike, so we'll have some Shari Baby blooms with the chocolate fragrance again soon. And apart from that, there really isn't that much coming soon. There's one Cattleya just about starting to form its buds. It's a strange one, this one, because it has a double sheath. It opens the sheath and then it pushes up another sheath inside and the buds come out of there. I think I can... still not sure whether they're forming yet, so that's going to be a while off anyway. Massive blooms, so obviously they'll take a while to grow from when the buds first form. And it's just mainly new growths. You know, it's sort of that time of year now that... and those growths have got to mature. I do have some mature canes on quite a few of the Latorias, and this giant antelope thing. I mean, these 2 large canes here are both mature, and the new growths are pushing on nicely. That's still not bloomed for me, that one. but we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, it's a lot of growing going on, but not a lot of spiking. So it's almost a case of apart from Catatanti and the Shari Baby spike, there isn't anything at the moment. So there is going to be a lull. I've got about a month to go before what I've got now is completely... Oh, I forgot to say the big blue Vanda's just opening just in the last couple of days. Just keep forgetting I've got a zoom. I'll get in as close as I can. You have to excuse the ugly weight on there, but it was the only way to stop it hitting the roof. And once a couple more buds open, the weight of the blooms themselves will be heavy enough to be able to take the ugly clothes pegs off, because they're not exactly elegant, are they? But it's either that or burn the buds on the roof, so you know, that's the choice. And last time this bloomed was in the winter, and whether that had a consequence of what happened to that particular Vanda, I don't know, but the blooms lasted a hell of a long time, and it's probably directly due to the much lower temperatures in the winter. But the plant suffered. So anyway, got two Vandas open, and the other Vanda, that's the white one, that's got another spike coming, slowly but surely. So yeah, there are a few things around that are to come soon, and some that is around already that will last a while, but yeah. It's going to be strange having so few blooms out after having so many all at once, but that's the way it goes. You know, I mean, an awful lot of the Cattleya types, they are winter bloomers. You know, they mature their growths and everything through the best of the growing season, and then produce their blooms sort of, you know, towards the end of the season and on into the winter. So we'll have to see. I've got quite a few in that category that haven't bloomed yet, because I got quite a few new acquisitions last year that are growing on nicely, but not bloomed yet. So I've got some, there will be hopefully some first time bloomers. So anyway, I'll see you next time. It's only a short video. I've got the Wessex Orchid Society tomorrow afternoon. I'm not going to enjoy the talk very much, I can say that up front. I'm sure the guy will do his best to make it interesting, because he is a great guy, but the talk is on dendrochilums. You know, I've got one. I don't even really know what I'm doing with that. Maybe I'll find out. Anyway, it's not going to be particularly interesting to me, because you know, it's a genus that I've got one of and have no real plans on getting any. But I'll take the camera along. Very difficult to film the competition plants at Wessex, because the tables are up against one side, and then the chairs are very close, so there's only really room for sort of one person to walk along the gap and look at the plants. It makes viewing them quite difficult, and while people are viewing them I can't get there to film, but I'll see what I can do. As I say, I haven't filmed at Wessex for quite a while, and they do get some interesting plants in. So yeah, I'll try and film tomorrow, because that'll save me filming in here and just repeating myself, because as I said, there's not something going to appear between now and tomorrow that isn't already here. It's getting to that sort of stage now. But what I am planning on doing is doing some sort of species updates, you know, the sort of, let's have a look at all the dendrobiums, let's have a look at the tolumnias, let's have a look at the oncidiums, that type of thing. Because it's a good time to do it when, you know, there's progress on the plants, but not necessarily blooms coming, because it's not their time. So we'll do some of that and have a chat about how I look after them and things like that, and which ones get totally neglected and still seem to grow, and which ones I mollycoddle and don't grow. Oh God, frighten the life out of me. Excuse that noise, that was the extractor and the other fans kicking on. So I'll cut it off here and I'll see you next time. Right, this is where YouTube money comes to the rescue. I did say I would feed the YouTube money back in. That strange screaming sound you heard just before I cut off was in fact this fan seizing up. That is quite difficult to turn, so I think it's actually seized up. I can't think of any other reason why it would do that. And these do get hit pretty hard. Do get quite a lot of use. But that's difficult to turn. There's no funny noises though. I wonder if it just blew the fuse. I mean, this is I forget what type that is, whether it's magnet or coil. But I'll have a look at the fuse in the plug. But otherwise, I've got to go and get a new fan now and wait for it to arrive when we have no sign of this weather going down. So I'm going to get hot in here now. If I can't suck the heat out, it's going to be difficult. But I'll look into it. Yay, mended. It had to be worth a try. The tiniest spot of oil on the spindle and it freed up immediately. Now that makes me think, because one of those jammed up not too long ago and it's not actually been thrown away yet, it's out in the hall. So I'm going to go and see if the same treatment will work on that. Seems I've got next to nothing to do today, I just as well fanning around playing with fans. Literally, no pun intended. But yeah, just put the front cover back on, tidy it up, and we're up and running again. Phew! Because certainly in this weather, not having the extractor running would have seriously built the heat up in here, so oh goody.